Changes in life basically occur for only a couple of reasons: forced or by choice. So I am experiencing the former, as the property I have been living in for 13 years in a very tight-knit community, close friends, is being sold. And so we're gonna move in different directions. Forced. I guess that's what you'd call forced. But as I look around, I'm sitting out here on the porch, and I have a map of the property in my mind. I mean, I can see every little detail, as can you of your place, or even some of the places you've lived in the past. But I'm living in this one right now, and I can look and I can see things right here in front of me. And then I can see the rest of it. And I can imagine that one time, most likely a couple of guys, I doubt there was a gal involved, back in the 40s or whatever, late 40s, early 50s, when they designed this place. They're sitting at a table and they got a pencil and they're scratching it out. Well, yeah, let's put a bedroom here, and here's a dining room, and here's the kitchen, and whoever these guys were that designed this place, they were community conscious. They didn't try to cram everything together to maximize profit. No, they gave each separate building in this sixplex, so there are 2 units in each stack. So we got, bottom floor, upper floor. Plenty of windows, and got a little space in between. You got walkways in between. So you got 2, you got a walkway. You got 2, you got a walkway. And I can imagine these guys sitting there. Now, of course, they didn't have dominoes back then. Whatever. I'm going to guess it was early 50s. I think this place was built in the 50s. So you got a couple guys sitting at a kitchen table scratching this stuff out. No computers. Got to do it all by hand. And I wonder, what were they thinking? What were their priorities in designing this place? And I can only come to the conclusion that these were some good men. Or men have changed. I don't know. But they designed this place so that it's very community friendly. It's very open and airy. Plenty of room for plants, and got a front yard. Got a common laundry room. We got balconies and porches and grass. We got grass. I don't know when the palm trees came in, but they're pretty tall now. They're about, I can't even see the top of them anymore. They go so far up, the clouds. Got to get rid of those clouds so we can see where the palm trees end. But I have to imagine that these guys who designed this place were thinking, people are going to live here. And people need to have a social existence. They need to have a little privacy, but they also need to be able to interact. And as far as South Mission Beach places go, and I've walked up and down every one of these streets, this is it. Now, I live at 805 Dover Court, so let's just use that as the address. The 805 Dover Court Sixplex. I've walked up and down every street in South Mission Beach several times. And there is nothing like this place. So it's really, aside from the personal loss of having been moved out by the money printers that enabled, lots of money to flow around and real estate prices to triple, quadruple, quintuple, whatever, and price us all out of the market. This place was the best. And I don't think people get it. And Shirley, that's not a woman's name in this case. Shirley, the woman, the ambitious young woman who bought this place, she doesn't get it either. This is like, what do they call those places where, is it United Nations Historic Sites, whatever? I mean, if you walk up and down every street in South Mission Beach, this right here, the 805 Dover site, is absolutely unique as far as, I wouldn't call it architecture, but social architecture, design, looking forward to, who's going to live here and how they're going to interact, and caring for that. I'd like to meet these guys who designed this place, because there's nothing else like it down here. Nothing. And fortunately, the young woman, she's from Canada. She's she's a live wire. I mean, I really like her. She has got a lot of energy, and she seems to be a very generous and caring person. But she's, she flatly declares that real estate is my life. This is what I do. She said that like 3 times in a conversation today. And, okay, great, and I'm just glad that you're not going to tear these buildings down and create some kind of homogeneous, generalized space that could be mistaken for any other space developed by someone who doesn't really care about people. So she's going to keep the buildings. She's going to do some facial stuff. Put some more glass in, move the doors to the side. And anyway, I think she's got some pretty good ideas, but I think bottom line is depends on how she decides to rent them. This weekly renter stuff, this Airbnb stuff, I mean, that kills community, And having lived down here for 30 years and seeing the evolution of the money printers' effect on our neighborhood, and the Airbnb revolution completely destroying community down here. We'll see what she does, but depends on how she rents it all out. But would you want to be the last man in the hole when the Japanese are surrounding you? you, you got one rifle and 3 rounds. You get 5,000 real estate Nazis surrounding you. You know, there is no community except for a community at large. It has to be bigger. I mean, we have ours, but we also have to be able to look across the street and say, hey, look at those guys over there. Look at that community. I like those guys. Let's go meet them. And when I first moved down here, that's the way it was. It was one big community. There were very few temporary renters. It's like Airbnb kind of nonsense that destroys communities. But, you know, the buck. The big green buck. So anyway, she's going to leave the buildings as they are. She's going to remodel them somewhat and make them look spiffy so they appeal to whomever. And that's okay, but I don't think there will ever be in the future, once she has redesigned and repurposed and re-rented, I don't think there will ever be what there has been here for decades. I think this was built in the 50s. And I think this was always a little hub of social gatherings. And you just have to take my word for it. I've walked up and down every street here in South Mission Beach, and this is the place. So, what do they call it? Something heritage sites. I mean, this place should be preserved. Like in the midst of all this super hyper, financialized development where they're rebuilding everything and homogenizing everything and trying to appeal to the worst instincts of humankind, the greed and the narcissism. Look at me, I'm staying in the best place in South Mission Beach. It's most expensive and it's got all the glass and the chrome and this place should be preserved just as it is when it was built in the 50s, I think. 50s, maybe late 40s, 50s, I think, though. It would be a place people would, come and walk by and go, look at that. Look at that. That's the way they lived back then. And you got 4 or 5, 6 guys out at the picnic table playing Scrabble and smoking cigars. Oh boy. What we lose in the transition to modernization. And of course everybody has said that, right? Every parent and grandparent and great-grandparent, all the generations past have said, oh, we've lost it all. Look what's happened to us. And I guess you have to get to that age where you go, they had a point. They really did have a point. They weren't just grumpy old men wanting their way. They Now, of course, there are limitations and all that. It's, we don't get too technical and difficult here, but there is something to be said for preserving the past. I mean, do we really want to just forget that this and that ever existed? I don't think so. So anyway, we're now down to a few days from the Dover exit. And still don't know where I'm going. But I do know I'm going to go someplace where I'm going to have a new group of friends and maybe a couple of new roommates and have a whole nother fantastic experience. And that's all good. It's not classic in the sense of what this place is, but life goes on, and I'm going to keep living it. So there you have it. Dover is over.